Chapter 2. The Moon. The room was filled with the clanging of pots and the rustling of paper. The little creature was tearing up Aya's lab at a crazed pace. It didn't look like it was intentionally being mischievous, but it seemed to be part of its biological nature to cause chaos. Aya stalked towards the creature with a slow, meaningful purpose, similar to the way that a tiger moves when it's about to catch its prey. As luck would have it, to the right of Aya lay a copper bowl large enough to capture the creature in without hurting it. She picked the bowl up slowly, trying to make no sudden movements. When the timing was right, she launched herself towards the creature, bowl in hand, and swung the bowl on top of the creature, catching it on the lab desk. She could feel and hear the creature bouncing around underneath the copper bowl, not frantic in panic, but still its chaotic, seemingly happy self. Then the noise and movement stopped. Aya was instantly worried that she had killed the little creature. Had it run out of air? Did it need specific light conditions? Did it need a certain amount of space to move to live? She quickly lifted the copper bowl up, not caring if the creature escaped. There in front of her was nothing. The creature had disappeared. She looked around the room, under the table, behind the lab equipment. Nothing. The creature was gone. Aya let out a long sigh, a huge deflation of excitement mixed with so many questions that she didn't or wasn't sure she would ever have answers to. Peg saw this and knew that Aya needed some positive words before the full grump set in. Peg said,
Aya, wasn't that fantastic right now? We saw a creature that we've never seen before. You should get your notepad out and make some notes about its attributes before you forget them. Oh, Aya, look! It brought back my corn. Look, it's on the lab desk. How delightful!
Aya didn't care for Peg's obsession with corn, but Peg did have a point, Aya thought. Aya moved hastily over to her bookshelf to grab her notebook on creatures and all things wibbly. She then tried to find a quill or pencil to write with, but her desk was an absolute mess due to the creature's rampage. After looking under heaps of paper, she finally found a pencil. She walked over to her armchair and settled in to make some notes. First, she drew the creature. Aya was a fabulous artist. She had a natural talent for remembering things in high detail. Humans would call this hyperphantasia. I would just call this magic. She put pencil to paper and started the sketch. It was exactly as Peg had described. The head was a light bulb, arms were claw-like clamps, but they had a metallic quality, and its legs were wooden cartwheels. When Aya finished the sketch, what she saw was something that made no biological sense. It seemed that this creature was a mismatch of elements stuck together. Like the creator of all things had woken up one morning, taken a few pieces of his creator toolkit, put them in a dice cup, shook them about, and boom, bam, out came this creature. As a witch, Aya was a bit stunned. Was this her fault? Has she done this, or was this just a coincidence, she thought. As she was deep in thought, she saw that light was streaming in through her window.
Oh no,
she thought. She called out to Peg.
Peg, what time is it? Did we stay up all night again?
Peg replied,
I don't think so, Aya. According to my timekeeping device, it's only 22:15.
Peg went back to munching on his corn that he had been reunited with. Aya said,
Peg, your timekeeping device must be broken. Look, the sun is coming through the window.
To his surprise, there was a lot of light coming through the window. That being said, Peg noticed something off about the colour of the light. It was too white to be the light of the sun. Peg thought that it looked more like the moonlight. Peg said,
Aya, there's something off with that light. It's the wrong colour to be the sun.
And with that, they both ran over to the window. When they reached the window, the light outside was painfully bright. Peg was right. It was the wrong colour to be the sun. The light was a pure white, like the light reflecting off of a snowy mountaintop. Aya and Peg couldn't see where the light was coming from, as the dense tree foliage blocked most of the view to the valley below. Aya said to Peg,
Come on, Peg, let's go to the valley viewpoint to see what's going on.
Peg gave a quick nod of his beak, and they both climbed out the window. Scaling along one of the main branches of the ancient oak, they came to the viewpoint. This was one of the highest points of the tree, and offered a breathtaking view of the valley below. The endless trees reaching as far as the eye can see, and the great vista of the infinite sky. On a typical day, the sky would be full of stars, and the small moon would be shining down. On this day, as Aya and Peg arrived at the viewing point, the moon in all its glory had taken up the whole sky. Aya and Peg gasped with shock and awe. The moon felt so massive and imposing. Aya felt like she could almost touch it with her tiny hands. Peg's eyes glistened with the white shimmer of the moon. With the moon so close, Aya felt a pulling sensation on her body, like she was about to be lifted by the gravitational pull of the moon. Peg said to Aya,
I'm speechless, Aya. I've never seen such beauty and been so scared at the same time before.
Aya looked at Peg, knowing exactly what he meant. It was clear then that the moon was getting closer and closer to the world of Aya and Peg. More details in the surface were becoming clear as time passed. Aya was deeply concerned that this could be the end, that the creatures and her experiments has caused a deep chaos in the system of things that she was responsible for. She looked at her dear friend Peg with worry that she had not felt in 80 years. The moon stopped progressing. There in the great sky it stood, ominous and present. Aya could hear a faint song on the wind. She wasn't sure if it was her mind playing tricks on her. Peg looked at Aya. Aya said,
Do you hear that, Peg?
Peg said,
I do, Aya. It's getting louder.
On the branch right in front of Aya, small glowing dust particles started to coalesce, forming what looked like a physical light structure. Aya and Peg looked up at the sky. Something was forming from the moon to the platform that Aya and Peg were standing on. What looked like a staircase had begun to materialize like smooth liquid glass. Aya, being Aya, was tempted to try and test how physical the staircase was. Peg saw this thought on Aya's face and gave a "don't do that" nudge. Aya and Peg could now hear the song louder than before. It felt like a song they had both heard before, but they couldn't place it. The source of the song was getting closer and closer. As it approached, there was a small bell-like noise, like a metal rod hitting resonant glass delicately. A pleasant sound, but cold and icy in nature. The sound was evenly spaced like a walking pattern, elegant and sure. Getting impatient, Aya said to Peg,
I'm going up this staircase now.
Peg, annoyed, said,
Don't, Aya. You've no idea what's going on here. It's most likely incredibly dangerous.
Aya said.
Even more reason then.
Aya placed her foot on the first light step and readied herself to run as fast as she could up to the moon. She looked up, ready to go, Peg croaking in annoyance. As she was about to speed off, in the far distance at the top of the stairs, Aya thought she could make out a small figure. She squinted and rubbed her eyes. As she opened her eyes after rubbing them, now in front of her and Peg stood a majestically dressed woman. She had some of the finest jewellery Aya had ever set eyes on. A woven dress that looked like it was made out of the weaved light of galactic stardust, and crystal shoes that reflected light into a spectrum of colours that defied scientific logic. Aya would have been in awe if she didn't feel the dark sense of reality and familiarity set into her stomach. Aya looked at the woman's face. Staring back at her was a mirror of herself. Just a prettier, wiser version of herself. The woman in front of Aya said,
Hello, my dear sister. Look what you have done now.